To honor RBG, befriend your political opposition. Now, only a few weeks before the national election, I feel like we are doomed no matter who wins in November. Not for the reason many other people feel we are doomed, because our country yet again will be forced to choose between the lesser of two evils, but because our nation is more politically divided than ever. And this political divide is by design. Political leaders want our country to be divided because it is better for them to potentially get elected. Political division upholds the duopoly that Democrats and Republicans have on our government. It keeps independents, progressives, and libertarians from achieving any political power and prevents any other political party from having any chance at garnering viable support. I talk more in depth about the political duopoly in my article on ranked choice voting. Government officials on both sides and at all levels sell their integrity for political gains and don't blink an eye at their own hypocrisy. Right now, all the conservatives are thinking, yes, Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton are perfect examples of this. And all the liberals are thinking, yes, Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell are perfect examples of this. But somehow, despite sitting on opposite sides of the political spectrum, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was able to be close friends with her colleague, Antonin Scalia. Ginsburg on Scalia after his death in 2016. I disagreed with most of what he said, but I loved the way he said it. Many people around the world, liberals and conservatives, have mourned Ruth Bader Ginsburg's passing. She was no doubt a champion for women's rights, and she likely made the progress she did because she wasn't an asshole. Fight for the things that you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you. Ruth Bader Ginsburg did not use techniques of intimidation, political blackballing, or humiliation. She stood up for what she believed in and also made a conscious effort to hear the opposition. She pivoted her strategy to be the most effective for the audience she was attempting to persuade, and her dissents spoke to facts rather than making personal jabs at her colleagues. It takes a lot more work and intellect to be civil to your opposition, but it is ultimately more effective than the current political strategy of might makes right, or whoever has the most political leverage wins. The dominant strategy is ineffective and is the reason why we are at a dead stop on most political issues. Again, this is by design. If you continuously have the same problems, you continuously need to re-elect the same people to keep battling the same opposition. It keeps the same, even if their names are different, they're still the same, white men in power, and keeps pumping more and more money into their political campaigns. It's not surprising that individuals deeply invested in this duopoly, one, refuse to see that they are part of the problem. It is the opposition that is at fault for being terrible, obviously. And two, dig their heels into the pavement and refuse to budge. Because if they do, that shows weakness, betrays their moral standings, and the opposition wins, obviously. We have become so polarized that being willing to listen and find common ground or engage with the opposition at all is seen as treasonous. William Vercetti tweeted, "We can disagree and still be friends. Yeah, bitch, about pizza toppings, not racism. Get the fuck out of my face." If anyone deviates from their political party's ideologies, they are seen as traitors. If anyone tries to engage with someone of a differing political party, they are seen as traitors, or at least their intentions are questioned. Are they a rhino or dino? It takes a lot more brainpower to formulate an individual opinion on every issue. It takes a lot more brainpower to find creative solutions instead of saying, no, I'm right and you're wrong, period. Blacksmith's art says, normalize changing your opinion when presented with new information. And unfortunately, our political leaders often fan the flames of polarization rather than calling for compromise, creative solutions, or unification. Former Mayor Pete Muldoon wrote in a Facebook comment, "But really this is because Republicans run our country and they are a blight on the world. Every single person that supports that party and normalizes it or fails to recognize it for the threat to humanity that it is will be responsible for what happens to this country now." These politicians, Democrat and Republican, don't realize, or maybe they do, that this intentional polarization is often to blame for the lack of progress made on our most pressing issues. How? If you don't respect your opposition, then they will lose respect for you, and then they won't want to work with you, and they will sabotage any success you might try to achieve. If you're RBG, however, then you know you can and will achieve great success against great opposition by being persuasive rather than demeaning. Things RBG has done for women: the right to sign a mortgage without a man, the right to have a bank account without a male cosigner, the right to have a job without being discriminated based on gender, the right for women to be pregnant or have kids and work. She had to accomplish these goals, and so many more, by appealing to sexist men with a lot more power than she had at the time. And she did it by sticking to the facts, garnering the respect of her peers, and not pushing anyone against her success by demonizing, intimidating, or demeaning them. P.S. I am not saying I am already great at this. For example, I didn't hesitate to tell my town's mayor what an asshole hypocrite he is. At least I'm self-aware and want to do better. To honor Ruth Bader Ginsburg and to continue her legacy, befriend someone on the opposite side of the political spectrum and find common ground and creative solutions. It takes more work and more intellect than simply calling names and saying how awful the opposition is, but it will ultimately be what saves our communities, our country, our sanity, and our spirits. Narnia BLM tweeted, "I don't know, man. There are people like Daryl Davis who have befriended KKK members or neo-Nazis and have eventually gotten them out of it. If we listen to them and they listen to us, maybe something good can come out of it. But maybe that is just idealism. Who knows?"